A sewing lesson from Sew New York. Today we're going to look at how to make a threaded belt loop for the side of your dress, which is a crochet technique. Hi, welcome to Sew New York. I'm Laura McCracken. Today I'm wearing a dress that I made a few weeks ago. I'm going to show you the pattern later. It's a vintage style. This dress is made of 100% cotton voile. It has a China silk lining and a great bow at the neckline, and I'm pairing it with a pair of Marc Jacobs heels. Okay, and the lesson for today is how to make the crocheted belt loop at the side seams. I'm going to come a little bit closer so I can show it to you. So here's a look at the pattern. It's a retro pattern. It's from Butterick. The pattern number, which might not be that visible, is B5707. That's B as in Butterick. B5707. It's not that hard of a dress to do. If you've been sewing for a while, I'm sure it'll be within your level of sewing. It doesn't have gussets. A lot of dolman sleeves in the 50s style clothing, vintage clothing in general, had a lot of gussets, but this dress doesn't, so it's not as difficult. I wanted to show you some details of the dress. So we're looking at the neckline right now, and you can see the bow. It's really lovely. It can be completely untied and taken off. Also at the neckline, you're going to see these nice soft folds on both sides. They pleat into the shoulder. And we're going to pan down on the dress and take a look at the waistline and the belt. So there's the belt. And I'm going to show you where the belt loop is. And the belt loop is right here on the side seam. It's right here. That's the belt loop you're going to learn today. And there's also an invisible zipper here. So the belt loop is attached right next to the zipper at the waistline. And let me get a little bit close up on that so you can see what the loop is going to look like. And that's the belt loop that you're going to make today. Let's just see if I can get a little bit closer. And there you are. That's the belt loop. I think that's a good view right there on the belt. And I'm going to also show you the dolman sleeve. Okay, so over here, this is the dolman sleeve. And you see how there's no seam around the armhole, which is a set-in sleeve, but this is a dolman, so the seam is part of the side seam that goes all the way underneath, and the other seam is up along the arm and up across the shoulder. And that's the dolman sleeve. So first of all, we're going to get the needle and thread ready. You're going to use a regular all-purpose thread or a lightweight dressmaker's thread. And I'm going to choose the brown thread here because the dress is brown. And you can see that the thread is, well, it's hard to see, but it's just a all-purpose sewing thread. All right, and we're going to thread the needle, but we're going to double the thread first. So now I have it doubled. You want to make it about 30 inches long in your hand, doubled. All right, so now I have a doubled thread. It's about 30 inches long. I'll show you one second. I know it's a little hard to see what I'm doing here. Okay. Then you're going to cut the thread off of the spool, and you want to cut it so that it's even with the end where you started. Okay, so I have two threads at the same length. Do you see that? Right there. A little bit closer. We're going to take the two threads and we're going to put that onto a needle. Okay, now we're going to use a needle. And choose a needle that has a good size eye. So because you're putting more than one thread through the needle. So this one has a good eye. All right. And back to the thread again. Now I'm putting the double thread, so it's two strands of thread that are about 30 inches long, putting that into the needle, and it fit through fine because the eye was big enough. And now I have a length of thread. It's about, 15 inches long. And we're going to put a knot at the other end. And now what I'm winding up with is a threaded needle. Okay, it's thicker now because there's 4 strands. All right, now I'm going to show you how to do the loop. It's crocheted. Let's go. Let's learn how to do the crocheted belt loop. I have the thread and the needle, so there's 4 strands of thread on this needle because I doubled it, put it through the needle, and put a knot on the end. I'm going to use a piece of muslin. I'm not going to actually show you on the brown and pink dress because the fabric is dark and I would want to use a matching thread and you won't be able to see it. So I'm going to demonstrate the exact same thing that you would do if you were making this dress or if you want to put any belt loop onto a dress at the waistline. If the dress or the garment does not have a seam at the waist, find the side seam and the approximate waistline where your belt would go. If your dress does have a seam at the waist, so that in other words it's a bodice attached to a skirt, you're going to go to the waist at the side seam and we're going to now insert the knot. This is our mock seam and this is a piece of muslin. So I'm going to go to the inside, making believe that this is our seam at the waistline, and I'm at the side seam. So you want to go behind the garment on the inside, go into the approximate stitch line where the seam is, and you're going to bury the knot. Okay, there's the knot. Now we're going to go back to the outside. And what you're going to do, you're going to go into that same spot where you see the thread coming out. Pick up a thread in the fabric of your dress. Just pick up a thread because what you need to do is create a loop. So now I have a loop. And this is a crocheting technique. I'm not a crocheter, but if you are a crocheter, you probably know it's called a chain stitch. And if you don't know, you're going to see it now. All right, so I've created a loop, and I've put the index finger of my left hand and the thumb of my left hand into the loop. And I'm holding the thread with my right hand. I'm going to go and grab the thread from my right hand and pull it through. And I create a knot at the base of the seam. And now I'm going to keep doing that, and I'm going to create a chain. So now the next little knot, or it's actually a little stitch, is going to lie next to the first one. So each stitch is going to lie next to the one that just was laid down. And I'm actually going to zoom in a little closer so that you can see this better. And you see how I'm creating a chain? And we're going to keep going with this. And the first few times you do it, your chain might not be beautiful, but after a while, if you practice it a few times, you're going to get each little stitch or chain laying next to the next one. So we're going to create this for about 2 inches. If we want to make a 2-inch long chain, and that way the belt that I'm wearing on my dress, which is about 3/4 of an inch wide, will fit through the loop just nicely. So just keep going until you create a 2-inch chain. Let each one lay next to the other. And it's good to make the loop that's in your fingers small because it's easier to come back over and grab the thread to pull it through. All right, now we have our 2-inch chain stitch. So what we're going to do now to finish it, we're going to put the needle, you're going to put it through your loop this time, and you're going to carefully just pull the needle through, and this is going to make a knot on the end. Okay, now what do we do? Okay, now we're going to bring it back into the garment right at the seam where you started. So we're just going to take the needle, and we're going to go right back in next to where you came out. And we're going to go back to the other side. And now we're going to put a permanent knot here to finish it off. And if you need instruction on the permanent knot, you can go to my website at www.sewnewyork.com. On my video page, you can find the permanent knot. We're just about done here. I'm going to hide my thread in the seam. And let's cut it off, and we'll turn it over and take a look. There's your belt loop. And if you want to see it close up, we bring the camera in so you can see it more clearly. And there you go. There's your chain belt loop. Let's see if we can get another shot of that. Yeah, nice. It looks good.